Just a couple years ago, the whole conversation around AI was really just about chatbots. We all kind of thought the future was just talking to a machine. But the real endgame for AI, it's something totally different. It's about autonomous agents running in the background, getting real work done for you. So let's get into what that really means for all of us. All right, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll nail down what an AI agent actually is. Then we'll separate the sci-fi hype from what's really happening on the ground. We'll look at how AI is fundamentally changing how we work and figure out who really gets the biggest boost from these tools. And finally, we'll talk about why the future of AI is all about getting really, really specific. To kick things off, I love this quote from Steven Sinofsky, because let's be honest, in the early days, watching an AI agent try to do something felt exactly like this. It was like watching a brand new intern who needs you to reset their password every 5 minutes and can't find the shared drive. They're getting better, a lot better, but this perfectly captures that initial clumsiness we're finally moving past. Okay, so first things first. What are we actually talking about when we use the term AI agent? Let's get a really clear definition. The old school way of thinking, for all the tech nerds out there, was that an agent is basically just a background task. You set it to run and you forget about it. But the view that's taking hold now is way, way more powerful. We're talking about systems that are autonomous, that can run for a long, long time and do meaningful work with you barely having to check in. And that brings us to this really important word, agentic. This is the secret sauce. This is what makes it all different. An agent becomes truly agentic when it can create something and then use that creation as the next instruction. It's a feedback loop. It's not just doing a task you gave it, it's giving itself the next task. That right there is the huge leap forward. Now, of course, this new power has gotten people's imaginations running wild, especially around this idea of artificial general intelligence, or AGI. But, what's happening in reality is, well, it's a lot different from the sci-fi movies. The fantasy, right, is this one giant all-knowing AGI brain that can solve any problem you throw at it. But what's actually being built by developers right now is the complete opposite. It's a system of many different, highly specialized agents. Each one is an expert at one tiny thing, and they all have to be coordinated, usually by a human. And when you think about it, it works just like a human company, right? You have a division of labor, you break big problems down, you have people with deep expertise, each agent masters one thing, you need a manager, some orchestration to make sure they're all working together, and, critically, you always have humans in the loop to guide the process and, make sure the results are actually good. And this is why getting past that AGI fantasy is so important. Sinofsky hits the nail on the head here. Calling it robot fantasyland isn't helpful because it just distracts us. It gets us talking about sci-fi instead of the real conversation, which is about how these tools are actually making us more productive, right here, right now. Okay, so let's talk about how this stuff actually shows up in our day-to-day lives. Because the rise of these agents, it brings up a really fundamental question about our relationship with technology. It's that classic chicken and egg problem, isn't it? We like to think that we invent a tool and it just slots right into how we already do things. But if you look at history, the biggest changes, the really profound ones, happen when we start to change our work to match what the tool is good at. Just look at something as boring as expense reports. It started totally manual, right? Rooms full of people. Then the first computers came along. And what did they do? They just automated the old process. They printed numbers onto those old tractor feed forms. It was clunky. The real revolution, the breakthrough, happened when the whole process got flipped on its head. Now, you just take a picture of the receipt and the software does everything else. The work completely conformed to the new tool, the smartphone camera. And guess what? That is exactly what's starting to happen with AI agents right now. People aren't just trying to get agents to understand our messy human processes. They're starting to redesign their code, redesign their workflows to make them cleaner and simpler so that agents can work on them more easily. We are adapting our work to the machine. So, if we're changing how we work to fit these new tools, who wins? Who benefits the most? You hear a lot of fear that AI is going to replace junior employees, but the actual data, it tells a totally different story. The numbers show this huge gap. I mean, it's not even close. A novice, someone new to a field, they might get a 2 times productivity boost from AI, which is great. But an expert, someone with deep domain knowledge, they can see a 10 times improvement. The tool supercharges the people who already know what they're doing.
And Aaron Levy just nails the reason why. The tool is most valuable when it's helping someone who knows more than it does. Think about it. An expert can look at the AI's output and say, yep, that's right, or ooh, that's a subtle error. But if the AI knows more than you do, how can you trust it? You can't tell if what it's giving you is brilliant or complete nonsense. Its usefulness just plummets. So let's break that down. Experts win because 1, they know the right language, the right jargon to ask for exactly what they want. 2, they can spot a mistake or a hallucination in a split second. 3, they can use the AI like a creative slot machine, just pulling the lever for ideas and knowing which ones are actually jackpots. And maybe most important, they have the judgment to know what's good enough and safe enough to actually put into the real world. So this whole trend, supercharging the experts, it leads us to a really fascinating and honestly a pretty counterintuitive idea about where all this technology is actually going. The story we usually hear is that AI models are just going to get bigger and smarter and eventually do all the big high-level thinking. But what's actually happening is the opposite. We're seeing a trend towards more agents doing more specific, smaller, more granular tasks. It's this weird counter pattern. As the underlying models get more powerful, we use them for more and more specialized jobs, not more general ones. And this actually fits a pattern we've seen over and over in tech. Every new platform allows for more specialization. In the PC era, you built a whole piece of software. In the web era, you could build a massive company around just a single API, like Twilio did for texting. And now, in the AI era with these powerful foundation models, the new business model is the agent as a company. An entire product that just does one automated workflow, perfectly. So here's the big takeaway. The real opportunity here isn't trying to build the next giant do-everything AI model. The opportunity is to build an agent that becomes the absolute best in the world at one specific thing. Whether that's processing legal contracts or handling payroll or scheduling logistics, specialization is where it's at. Which brings us to a final thought. We've seen that technology doesn't just get rid of jobs, it creates new kinds of specialists. I mean, roles like product manager or UX researcher didn't even exist before their platforms came along. So the real question isn't what jobs will AI take? It's, as AI pushes this massive wave of specialization, what completely new expert role is it about to create in your industry?